Hello and welcome to the ℍ𝕠𝕝𝕣𝕣𝕣𝕣𝕣𝕣𝕣𝕣𝕣 witchcraft podcast. We have a special guest today. Who's that, Liam?
Me.
You're not a special guest. You are special.
Well, I'm a guest, aren't I? And if I'm special, then I am a special guest. Does that not mean we got two special guests on?
No, a guest suggests you've been invited.
Oh, okay.
You just keep turning back up.
Who's been invited then?
I believe we have the Witcher today.
The one they call the Witcher. Hello, the Witcher.
Hello.
From the Witchcraft Live group and from the Witcher blog, I believe now as well.
Yes.
Starting to be well established, that is.
Yeah.
It's basic stuff. You know, it's nothing complicated.
Yeah, but it's the basic stuff they all fuck up. That's my point.
Ooh, fight and talk.
Ooh, he's getting frosty already. We're only like less than 2 minutes in.
You can always trust the feisty one. He's being rude and cheeky. He's doing my job. I wonder that might be because he's ran the wrong way. There we go. I'll be the nasty one.
You'll be the nasty one now.
There we go. Right, Witcher. So thank you very much for coming on and letting us probe you. Okay, we're going to have some very difficult questions because we always try to ask difficult questions. And one of the difficult questions I want to start with is, are you suddenly turning to the bad side? With all this naughty, nasty shenanigans I've been hearing about of late.
Oh, I know. It's what can I say? Yes, I am of the dark side at the moment.
Can you publicly state that is in no way, shape, or form my fault?
I can't comment on that, Liam. You know that. I can't comment on influencers.
Hold on, Ian, Claire. All I can say is I got busy. She started having her sessions just with you, and suddenly she's off killing people weekly. So, you know, like, I reckon...
Not weekly, monthly, maybe, over the next year. But, yeah.
Well, you know what they say, a witch has got to do what a witch has got to do.
Yeah, and I have a tendency to bring out murder in people. So, Witcher, I understand from when we first spoke, and the first impression I got from you was that you're a bit too nicey. I wouldn't have said new age, but very like to stay on the nicey side, even to the extent which if you had a bad person, let's say some complete asshole, that you would probably find a nice way of dealing with them. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, in the past, yeah, it was more of a calmer type of spell work, or now I am of the dark side, so anything goes really. I don't kill children now.
No, not yet. Give it another couple of months.
Anyone below the age of 18 is fine.
I think it's perfectly acceptable to do the children killing part, as long as you get them really, really young, because then they don't really know what a life is, do they? It's when they get to the extent where they start to, have a personality and such.
You see, Chris, he makes a very good point here. I mean, how am I supposed to argue with that one?
You can see how the manipulations happen. Right. Okay. So when did this sort of change then? Was this something that you yourself has changed in terms of like your ethics of craft and that? Or is something happened? Or are you just tired of being nice all the time? What's going on? How's this big switch occurred? So I know that I can learn from this and then influence other people in the same way, you see.
Ethics, we could talk about all day. I do have ethics. If I can fix a problem and the person is going to learn from it, I will still choose that method. It's when they're not learning, then the witcher gets a bit tired, and it's like, you know, a bit, I'm not tired, fed up in it. And then the dark side comes out, because what other option is there? There probably is more options, but not in my life. You know, my life's been complicated enough, and I do not want my future to be complicated. And if I can fix that and walk all over whatever or whoever, then I will do.
Okay, so you haven't just had some sort of an epiphany or something where you figured you've been playing by the rules for a long time, and yet no one else seems to be, so why should you?
No, there's no been, no epiphany as such.
No epiphany. Do you regret, like in the past, being so nice to people that don't deserve it? Or are you happy with how you've been soft, let's say, before?
Actually, I don't regret any of it, because to me it's a learning and it's my journey. And I've had to give, there was a reason why I gave people chances after chance after chance after chance. It's in my opinion that we all have to learn. I have a different perspective of people are born bad or not born bad. They aren't, it's their behaviour. I just like justice to fix problems, issues, and not just in my life, but I do have clients. And if I can fix something and bring them justice in whatever way, I may tweak my personal ethics if the price is right.
Oh,
You know?
yes, hello. That's interesting. She says sellout. She's admitted it officially. She can be bought for the right price.
I think most people can be bought for the right price. You know, we've categorically said before, like, you know, yes, we will do all sorts of things for people, but it will be in an astonishing price for us to do it. We'd rather people do it themselves, you know, and take their own karmic debt on. But I think that kind of brings up an interesting point, which is of some of the witches we've got in Witchcraft Live and Patreon, etc. There aren't that many that are what we would call professional witches. And Witcher is definitely one of those that does fill that kind of remit.
Yeah. Have you ever been able to escape from that? Because I think at one point you did say you were even considering either dialing the witchcraft down or even possibly putting it on hold completely. You know, but is it something you ever think you could escape from?
No, I think in my mundane, boring life, which people are not interested in whatsoever, it's been complex recently. So things have been put on a back burner for the last couple of years. I think 2023 is going to be the witch's year to come back full force. It has to be done. It's the right time. So that's the way it is. And, you know, once I've made up my mind, I've made up my mind. And I tend to stick to and work at. I'm almost blushing actually under the makeup. I've never really been called a professional, which I don't consider myself a professional.
Well, you charge
really.
money, and people see
I do charge money.
Knowledge and such, so you have to be really is the definition.
Yeah, I do charge money. I don't charge enough, and I don't charge a lot, and I've given clients freebies as well. Sorry,
curses.
Kirsty's cost out. I did one of them the other day, actually, for a client. Yeah.
Tell us all about that. Come on, tell us all about it.
Well, you know, they was only just an adult, so they only just met my ethics. It turned out more of an Xing, really, but that situation is where they are accusing somebody else of being a criminal and lying about it. And obviously, if that person is investigated and found to be guilty when they're not guilty, and I know they're not guilty, I've checked, I've done all my checks, then that's going to do a lot of damage to that other person's life. So I think the truth has to come out on that one. And it was so simple. It's only a transparency spell with a little bit of tweaking of the hex being mixed up in there as well. That again is bringing justice again. It's about bringing the truth, communication and justice. I've not had feedback from the client yet. I think I'm due to speak to them next week about that one.
Would you say that a lot of the people come to you for similar reasons then? Is it a lot of justice work that you do? Because I know you do healing work as well, don't you? In different capacities and stuff.
Yeah, I do. And yes, they do. It's normally justice, healing, cleansing. I get it's nearly Valentine's, of course. I get the old. I want him to love me. I don't want to call it rubbish, but you know, that kind of thing. You know, I mean, the other day there was a tarot reading, and that was a love reading, and there's nothing wrong with a bit of the love, you know. It's just in 2023, which is not going to be showing much people love, especially mundanes. Witches are all right. It's just the mundanes.
Oh, the mundanes, I see. So you're going to be picking them off like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I should change my name to Hit Lady, should I?
The Hit Witch.
Hit Witch.
Your name.
Hey, the grand title of Witcher came exactly from the TV show. Like, you know, toss a coin to your Witcher, like totally, you know, going out, smiting demons, charging what is appropriate, and then kind of living off that cost of the adventure. So I do think so.
She strikes me as the sort that would undercharge, though, Chris. We're happy to put a 0 or 2 on the end. I think I worry about the Witcher. I think maybe she's, you know, she's always been a bit too nice. How do you come to the, you know, how do you actually quote for work, Witcher? Do you have a price list, or do you just go by how much you like or dislike the target?
I do have a price list, yeah.
Ooh, a price list. Oh,
yeah.
I'd love to see that price list. What's on it? Is it itemized, or is it just like an hourly rate thing, or what?
It's itemized.
Like this level curse is like, you know,
right.
100, that level curse is 200. If you really want their flesh to melt off the bone, then that's 500. You know, how's the price list work out?
Well, to be quite honest with you, now you mentioned these figures, I definitely am undercharging. You know, I am not charging hundreds, and you know, it's like I do a hex curse for £30. You know, and I put a lot of work into that kind of thing. And a normal spell is only 15. Tarot cards, tarot reading 15. I am so undercharging. See,
you are massively undercharging.
Yeah,
double them at least. Double them at least.
No wonder I'm the Witcher. I've got no money.
No, I get it, because, like, you know, we have a similar situation to a certain extent with the Patreon. If we charge by the hour for the time we spend with mentees, then most of them would be bankrupt. And I think that's the thing.
Not just morally.
Yeah. So I think morally, you have a really strong moral approach to it, and actually you want to help people. So therefore, you keep your rates lower than you should. I still think you should double them at the very least.
I'm going to think about that. I'll think about that. I mean,
So,
that one the other
cost of living.
day. Well, yeah, there is a cost of living, and you don't want to know the witch's electric bill for the last month, I can assure you. Yeah. Yeah, the other one the other day ended up being like double, triple spell, really. I mean, only £30 to charge for that was probably underselling myself, but I like to help, and that person would have been in deep issues if a false allegation was made against them. You know,
Well,
and
the thing is, you can set a bar this high, and that you can always come down from a bar.
Discount.
Whereas, you know, discount and kind of go, actually, I really feel your pain. I know you can't afford it. I'm going to half price them. Then they love you even more, and they come back twice next time. But that's just my capitalist ways, you know.
Yeah, in a court of law, isn't it that loser that pays the legal fees and expenses?
it is, yeah. It is, yeah.
You should be taking some energy from the targets as well, add to the money pot.
Yeah, well, we said we wouldn't mention, but there is some very serious spell work going on in the background. But yeah, we won't talk about that.
Well, let's talk about some of the less serious spell work, because I understand you've got a 2023 shit list. Obviously, some people set New Year's resolutions, but I think this Witcher here has just got a list of names. Is that right?
I have a list of shit list, or excuse my French, being a lady, hit list, yeah, and they're all mundanes, and it's like they've all not learnt their lesson. They've all impacted on either my life or my family's life, or someone who's connected to me.
Then? Is this freebies? Is this more of a side job?
Yes, I would say it's freebies. Yeah, but it is of benefit to me or my family. Yeah.
Can you pick one? You don't need to tell us their name, but can you pick one and then tell us what you're planning on doing to them?
Oh, I won't mention. Yeah, I won't mention the name, but there's one that I'm going to wipe the floor with. So obviously attaching their energy to a puppet that's going to be attached to all my dirty stuff that I do in the house, like mopping the floor.
Oh, you're
using the cloth to clear the animal mess up, that because I have pets, you know, so I am literally going to wipe the floor with them, you know, physically as well as mentally. That's one. A target on one's back will be another one. But with that one's not so nasty, because if they do nice things, then the target will attract nice things. But if they do nasty things, then it's going to be the nasty stuff that attracts, you know. So that's not that painful, really.
It's more karma related.
That one's a more karma related one. But the wipe the floor one,
I'm really excited by that. That sounds good.
I've never done something like that before. So yeah, I just thought, oh, what? And I'm making, haven't got it at the side of me, unfortunately, but I'm making the puppet as we speak for that, which will be attached to, like I said, my mop or whatever, I use, you know. Yeah, so yeah, my hit list.
Have you got any nice work going on this year, or is it just all bad things?
Got a few clients for healing. Always get a lot of healing work.
Is it people with like physical conditions, or is it some sort of emotional turmoil, or?
I get both, and I know you're not keen on on these people, but I do practice Reiki, and
I knew it was coming.
Yeah. Like I said, you did work me out. I have got some new agey type of thing, you know, but
All right.
Oh, the chakra system. I do balancing in that in the chakra system, which I know a lot of witches don't use, but come on, it's the most basic source of energy, in my opinion. In the witch's opinion, it's the most basic source of energy system you can use. So use it. Nothing wrong with using it.
Keep it simple, they say, don't they? Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. I'm not overcomplicated. And when it comes to healing work, working with the chakra system, working with, if you want to call it Reiki energy or crystal energy or whatever, is simple again and effective. It does the job. Client's happy, I'm happy, I get paid. You know. I've been doing a lot of astral work in regards to healing as well. So if I can't get to a client, I will often go into my astral, and sort of work on them in that way. I think, did I tell you about the time where I visited a friend of mine when they were sleeping through the astral?
I heard about this when we spoke, but I don't know if Chris does.
Yeah,
probably won't.
I was going through the astral. I was in astral. I went through the astral, one of my astral doors, visited a friend in their home. They were on the bed, relaxing, asleep, whatever. And I actually went up and gave them a kiss on both sides of the cheek. And they texted me the next day saying they felt somebody kiss them in their sleep. And I'm like, oh, I have nothing to do with that, you know. And I'm like, wow, that really happened. And that was just me playing around. I was just having fun. But he is one of my male friends, clients, and he gets a lot of healing through astral from me. Yeah, and it's normally a freebie with that one.
Sounds kinky.
I'm going to say, does he pay in kind?
Yeah, what sort of healing is
it? Sounds like he pays in kind.
Is this some sort of I don't know, moist?
No, you know, I like to play with biologicals, but we won't get into that.
We definitely will talk about biologicals.
We need to talk all about biologicals in the next half. But yeah, before we go on to the extended edition for the Patreon and that, you said about obviously that you do tarot readings and stuff like that. And I used to do things like that for mundings, but I always found it very, very, very difficult because they're always a pain in the ass and they always want to do the same thing. It's always like a love reading or something. It's never anything interesting. I was just interested in what sort of demographic you have for your tarot reading and stuff in terms of what people are interested in knowing. Is it all relationship stuff or is it?
I have to be honest, it really grates on me, but it mainly is.
Okay.
You know, it's mainly about the love and to the point where I turn into counsellor.
What I didn't like about it.
You know, and but I do get other things. I do get health and employment is a good one as well. Yeah, I normally get employment, future employment.
So So what is it that you read? Do you read tarot cards? What specific, is it a specific deck that you use, or have you got a couple of decks that you select based on the person?
I haven't got them with me. If I'd known you were going to ask me, I would have shown you. I have a couple of decks. I've got a sightseeing one, which is very new agey, but I do like the artwork on that one. I got one that is complicated. It's all symbols. And I've got a witchcraft one. It just says witchcraft on it. And I've got the good old right away, because you can't go wrong with that. And that's 4. I've got.
Where do you stand with all of this like cleansing stuff? Because a lot of people get worried about tarot decks and stuff like that. Do you have a cleansing system or a routine when you use decks and stuff, or not?
They're kept on my altar, which is or in the altar. My altar's got a cupboard underneath it, and they sit in a box, with a clear quartz. I don't really cleanse them. In fact, if I can get the client to shuffle them, and they will be touching them, but I don't do all that. I probably very not very organized and unclean the way I work in that way, but I just don't really get the why you should cleanse your day.
Well, it's not been a problem for you, presumably. So.
It's not been a problem for me, never, ever, no. I know that people do it, that's fine, my 2 main decks that I use for reading are cleansed. Yeah, they're kept in the box with the crystal, and there's other things that I do as well. But my other decks, no, the ones that I use for me, or if I'm reading for someone else on the phone, and I'm like, oh, I'll just pick up the nearest deck, and that could be anything.
So have you ever had a client or someone that's either come to you for a reading or someone that's come to you for spell work that has just lied to your face? Maybe they've lied about a target or a situation or something like that. You've just felt or understood, nah, this person's not the one in the right, or this person's lying to me. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, it did the other day, because like I said, I had like a curse request, but when I looked into it a bit more deeply, I don't really do spell work on under 18s, and this person was just 18 or just under, or it was really on the thin line. That's why they never got like a proper full hexing. It was more the communication, the truth must come out type of spell work. But I did explain that to the client. They're fine with that, so to say I've kind of hexed them with the truth. So
enough rope to hang themselves, presumably.
Yeah, it's like when I looked, when I was sent the picture, not like a print at the moment, I've got problems with my printer, but when I was sent the picture of this person, I immediately contacted the client and said, that person's not 18. If they're 18, they're only just 18. And I had to look into the information to why. And I'm like, well, I won't do a proper hex because of the age. So I do have morals and ethics.
Yeah.
You're
the most moral and ethically upstanding person we know.
I did refuse to do the spell work.
No, well, you still did it. You still delivered. It's just obviously that you toned it down a little bit, presumably.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Right, that's it for the regular edition of the No Holds Barred Witchcraft podcast. We're going to go into extra time, and we're going to talk to the Witcher about some other top secret stuff. Like, we'll probe her a little bit more on the morality and the ethics, Chris, I think, isn't it? So I think that's what people are interested in. What will she do? What won't she do? Who knows? So what will you do and what won't you do, Witcher? We'll start there. You said about like 18 is an important number for you, because obviously that's legally in the UK, that's legal age of adulthood, isn't it? But obviously that's different potentially in other places. I think in America they can't even drink, can they, until they're like in their 20s or something?
21.
21, I know, crazy, isn't it?